Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Welcome to this new video, and today I just thought I'd show and talk about a bunch of pretty underrated but really cool Euro horror films. And all these ones I picked out are from either the 60s, 70s or 80s. Big fan of all these films, so I wanted to give them a bit more exposure. It might surprise a few people that I haven't included any giallos for this video, but you know, when I talk about those, I usually do separate videos for all of them. But anyway, I'll get right on with it. The first one I've got is Tragic Ceremony. Really cool film from the early 70s, directed by Ricardo Freda. Like I say, this is definitely a cool one. There's a great atmosphere to this film. Pretty familiar story. Got a bunch of these sort of hippie types who their car breaks down. They come by this sort of old house when this rainstorm's about to start, and they basically stumble upon this kind of like a sort of black mass sort of a sacrifice type thing, and they eventually flee the area, and they discover that the police actually think they are responsible for all the stuff that had gone on. But yeah, it's a really cool film. Stars Camille Keaton from I Spit on Your Grave. Got some really good gore actually, some pretty cool, bloody, gory moments, but great atmosphere. There's that sort of gothic feel to it. Really cool film. Tragic Ceremony. Next one got is Satan's Blood. Another one I've really always liked. This one is a Spanish horror film from the early 70s. And it's another cool one. Yeah, story wise, it just has this sort of a young kind of married couple sort of driving out one day. They come across this other man and woman who seem to recognise them, and eventually they just end up sort of going back to their house. Not long before, lots of strange things start happening, lots of sort of black mass type things, satanic rituals, and a creepy doll as well. This film's got a lot of stuff put into it. It's a really cool film though. It's actually very well directed. Again, a great atmosphere, a few gory moments, but in all, very good film. Satan's Blood. Next one is Tomb of Torture. This one is from the early 60s, actually a black and white one. Another really cool film. Has a great atmosphere, this film. The black and white photography looks really, really nice. Really cool film. Story wise, it just sort of set around this obviously old sort of castle type place. It starts off with these two women who venture in there, and they quickly get picked off by someone. Then the film follows this woman who's having these kind of weird nightmares and stuff. And it turns out that she may or may not be the reincarnation of someone from years before, but it's a really cool film. It's got a real gothic feel to it. Like I say, great atmosphere, very entertaining too. Tomb of Torture. Next one is A Bell from Hell, which is a fantastic film from the 70s. This one is a Spanish horror film. Really, really good film. Story, it just has this guy who he's just been released from this kind of insane asylum on sort of probation, and then he sort of goes back to stay with his aunt and his cousins, and it kind of turns out that, you know, he's in line to inherit a lot of money from his mother, but it was his aunt who, you know, tried to get him committed into this asylum, and this guy kind of wants revenge on him and stuff. But really, really good film, really brilliantly directed. Photography, cinematography is amazing, very, very entertaining. This one for me is an absolute classic, up there among the best Spanish horror films. Fantastic film, A Bell from Hell. Next one you've got is The Antichrist, which, you know, is a film I really, really like. For some people they might just see it as one of those sort of cheap Exorcist rip-offs, but you know, this is a really, really good film. directed by Alberto de Martino. Very well directed, very entertaining. It is quite long, but I mean, I do find this film entertaining all the way through. You know, you got the woman, she eventually sort of kind of gets possessed, and you've got all that mad stuff she's doing. Eventually there's a sort of exorcism. Really good film, definitely recommend this. Antichrist. Next one is Strange Love of the Vampires, which is also known as Night of the Walking Dead, which is a Spanish horror film from Kilmovsky, who I've mentioned before I'm a massive fan of, and this is one of his lesser known films. Doesn't have an official release, but it's a cool film. I mean, the front cover looks a little bit cheesy, but it's not that cheesy. Yeah, cool film, like I say. Sort of like these sort of vampires eventually appear and stuff, but the film's a bit different to many other vampire films, as it's sort of a bit more sentimental. It's got that sort of, the whole sort of characters are just as important as anything else, so it's a good one. I like it. Strange Love of the Vampires. Next one we've got is The Sexorcist, or the Eerie Midnight Horror Show, whatever you want to call it. Another one which doesn't get the best of reviews, this one, but I do actually quite like it. It's a cool film. Another one, sort of like Exorcist type rip-offs, I suppose you could call it, or influences. Cool film. Just has this woman, she's like a sort of artist or something, and sort of brings back to her studio this, it's like this old sort of cross with this sort of guy sort of crucified on it, and turns out there's some sort of evil sort of entity inside the cross, and it sort of possesses her really. So turns out she gets a real sort of grueling exorcism at the end, but there's some really cool scenes in it. I like it. The Sexorcist. Next one we've got is Bloody Pit of Horror, which is from the early 60s. Another one I actually really like. This is an entertaining film. It might quite often these days get dismissed because a lot of people would accuse this of being very dated, and maybe even accuse it of being very campy, but I think it's a good film. It's got some really good atmospheric moments to it, but I do agree it is a little bit campy at times and outdated, but it kind of adds to the fun. But it's got some great scenes in it. You know, the sort of killer is, you know, going about his business. He puts all his victims in these various sort of elaborate traps and stuff, which is a lot of fun and quite funny. The killer is like the Crimson Executioner or something. Yeah, it's a good film. I like it. Bloody Pit of Horror. Next one we've got is Something Creeping in the Dark, and this one I did actually have in my Giallo overview recently, but to be honest, it isn't really one, and I thought I'd talk about this one because it's an absolutely fantastic film. You know, really creepy, really stylish, very atmospheric, great film. I mean, it does have the kind of setup of a Giallo, one of the sort of gothic type Giallos really. A bunch of people in their cars kind of get stranded because there's a sort of flood which is, you know, closed off the road. So they all take refuge in this house, and it's kind of like haunted, and it's got some fantastic scenes in this film, really sort of creepy moments. I definitely recommend this one if you like those sort of haunted house type films. Really, really good. That's Something Creeping in the Dark. And last one I thought I'd show is from one of my favourite bad directors, but I'm a fan of him, and it's a Bruno Mattei film, and it's The Other Hell. And I do actually like this film. Of course it's never going to get the best of reviews, but I think it's very entertaining, kind of non-exploitation type film, set on this sort of a convent, strange goings on in there, murders and stuff. It may or may not be Satan who's responsible. Very good film in my opinion. I like it, entertaining. Yeah, just very, very watchable. That is The Other Hell. from Bruno Mattei. So I'll leave it there. So thanks everyone for watching this video. I hope it's been of some help. Anyway, take it easy guys.